What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of What Are You Scared of Something?
The acronym is Way Sauce.
It is, if you don't know. If you're new to our channel, welcome. We review scary movies. We make scary movie clips. The works, you know. It's a ton of fun.
Anything scary.
Oh, okay. Just
Send us in.
Interrupt me. Yeah.
Send us in. Send us in.
I don't know, he's speaking another language.
Like the Ghostbusters.
Okay. If you like our content and want more of it, like and subscribe, share. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. You name it. We
Do it.
got it. But okay. All right. So today's movie we have
Sinister.
Sin.
Ister.
His sister is a sinner. This is a scary movie. Came out in 2012. And I would say this is when horror really started to pick up. I think the genre that we like. You know, we always talk about it, 70s slashers. You got 80s weird stuff like The Thing and Chucky. And then the 90s, I don't even really know what happened in the 90s. Blair Witch, so it's a couple found footage things. 2000s, a little better. Paranormal Activity, The Grudge. Starting to get a little better.
It is getting a little bit better in that era.
I feel like it's the same with music. decades are different. Like the 70s are Hall of Fame level, and the 80s are like hair bands, one-hit wonders.
Yeah.
2010s, whew,
We start really picking it up.
you name it, they got it.
Start really picking it up.
Yeah, good stuff. Like this one, Sinister, Conjuring, Insidious, The Witch, It Follows, Babadook, Hereditary, Midsummer, The Goods,
Hell yeah.
As Above, So Below.
There's this one called Mama that we have to watch that I always found pretty creepy. That's a creepy one.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that in theaters, and I was like, ooh.
Ooh.
That thing is
That's
creepy.
creepy.
That mama is creepy.
You see that mom over there?
See that mama?
She creepy.
She
So
ain't
creepy.
fine. She creepy.
So Sinister, yeah, talk about creepy. This one was unsettling, disturbing, creepy. It stars the one and only Ethan Hawke, who did a really good job in this film. You know him from films like Boyhood. He was actually in Purge. I forgot about that.
Really?
Yeah.
The first one?
I don't know. I didn't see any of him. I never really like him. Did you like him?
I saw like one. I figured I got the gist of it.
Yeah,
I
you're
was
like,
like,
okay.
all right, well, at a certain time, everyone's going to kill each other.
Right.
Got it.
Got it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ethan Hawke was in that. He was in Training Day. That was a good one. So Scott Derrickson wrote and directed this movie. The wife in the movie is Juliette Rylance, granddaughter of Mark Rylance, who won an Academy Award. And yeah, it really shows Ethan Hawke's versatility in this film, where he can go and play somebody who is an egotistical scaredy cat, if you will. So let's dive right into it.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Let's do it.
So we actually already have made 2 movies regarding this movie. So we made the top 5
Oh, yeah, true.
movie scores, which we'll talk about in a bit, and top 5 horror movie demons. So check those videos out if you haven't seen them. So before I even seen Sinister, of course, Brennan usually sees the movies before me, because I'm a little more new into this genre of horror.
Yes,
But yeah, we watched it at night, like usual. And overall impressions before we dive in, I think.
I just remember, like, the first time I saw it, well, you said 2012?
Yeah.
Damn, so it's like sophomore in high school.
12 years ago. Jeez.
Yes. Yeah, I remember just thinking to myself,
You're
like,
15 watching this. That's crazy.
I just remember thinking to myself, like, damn, this is pretty dark, especially, what Mr. Bagul gets people to do, So, like,
Yeah.
I'd never seen. It was a good twist on like a horror story, because it's usually like the ghost or whatever the entity is possessing people, and then making them kill people and just whatnot. But he just sits back and he's like, "Let you do your thing.
I don't want to do the work. You do
Yeah,
it.
you're doing
like
the
who?
work." Like
Who does it?
Oh, Lucifer.
This one.
Lucifer.
Charles Manson. They get people to do the dirty work for him.
Yeah, that is true.
That's even, I mean, that's a pretty tough task to do. Hey, here's some insane stuff. Why don't you do it for me? Okay.
Yeah.
No, that takes a lot of mind games.
Just like coaxing, and especially like
temptation.
Just people that are just so innocent, like children. Oh, that's even crazier.
Did he just mention children? I think he did. Why? This was in the film. It's crazy. All right, so let's talk about the score in detail. I remember obviously we made a video about this, and it's a movie score. It's something you've never heard before. At one point during the film, I look over at you, I go, "What is that?"
Yeah.
And you go, "I have no idea." He's a DJ, and he was like, "I don't even know what this is." It's like there's weird sounds. It's this guy Christopher Young is credited for it. He did The Grudge and another movie called Entrapment. And I briefly read on Reddit people talking about it, and they were like, "We have no idea what this is. Like, has anybody seen this? Like, the music's so weird. Like, is it real music? Like, did they mess up? Like, it's so bizarre. Like, people don't understand what it's about."
That's what makes it so great, because you're just like, I don't know what the. It seems like he took like just genres, like the one drum that keeps going, and almost sounds like an African drum, but then there's like weird electronic-y sounding, I don't know what, like amplified guitars or something maybe in the background, and then just the murmuring of somebody or something. Oh god, that's the worst.
Yeah, check it out for yourself if you haven't seen it. Yeah, super creepy. It just seems random. Like they were just like, there's what song is it? I think it's "A Day in the Life" by the Beatles. I think I read somewhere where Paul McCartney just said to the orchestra section like, play your highest note all at the same time, and it just sounded like crazy.
Yeah,
I don't know if they ended up going with that, but he was just like, do something nuts, you know, so to make it interesting.
That's sick.
This is just like, it's absolutely bizarre, and that's what we love. You know, another part of why these movies are so good in the 2010s, like It Follows and, you know, Hereditary. We have a friend, Jared, shout out Jared. He hasn't even seen Hereditary, but he's so, you know, he loves music. He's like, I actually know the soundtrack. So, you know, it's making its way to people that don't even like horror movies. So, yeah, that's another reason. It's just not even, is the content good, the music is that much better.
Especially these days with like TikTok and stuff. I've seen the Hereditary soundtrack used for like even like funny skits.
Making a sandwich.
Yeah. So it's crazy how some of them are coming to light, you know.
Yeah, but the score is fantastic, and it just keeps you on edge the entire time. All right, let's dive in. So, opening scene, the movie starts out dark.
Oh, yeah.
The first scene, and it was, so Brennan's on the chair, I'm on the couch, and we're just like, all right, I'm getting, you know, tucked in, ready to go, and boom, first scene. I'm like, okay, this is how we're starting. All right, that's what you want to do. 4 people hanging from a tree.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that is bad.
Yeah, and it's just like on the old school camera, so it makes it even creepier. It's just so great. It's so grainy. It looks disgusting. I love that.
And like, there's a part of the old film where it kind of like just does that quick like cutout.
Yeah.
And it's like does that like flash. So the way that we'll dive into like the actual films in the movie, the films that Ellison finds. It's like the beginning is like a loving family, and then it just does like it goes quickly to dark, and then you see, you know, the deceased family members. But yeah, so 4 people are hanging from a tree. You're like, okay, that's crazy. So you quickly realize the film has to do with these 4 people hanging, and they look young. And you're like, wow, it's even worse.
Oh yeah. You got some kids probably, you know, will definitely hang.
We don't know because they have bags over their heads, but
yeah, you can kind of assume though, because like there's like 2 that look bigger, so maybe you're like, maybe they're like older siblings or parents, and then there's like a couple of smaller ones, and you're like, ooh, and then you kind of see like one of the other trees fall, and then that's what lifts them up over the ground, like a pulley system. It's really creepy. Something saws off that, you know, that tree limb, and just creates the other one to go up. Really creepy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you have a queasy stomach or you don't like, if you're normal and you don't like that stuff, you know, probably do something else. Watch Family Guy, do something else. Anything. Make a cake. Anything. Bake a cookie. I don't know. Do something else. So yeah, fair warning. But I imagine that you're watching this video because you love us, and you probably have also seen the film. So. Yeah, you know you're in for it right away. Even I was telling him before, you know, we started filming. While I was writing this, I became uneasy. like, and I was writing scene from scene, writing my notes, and I'm like, damn, I don't like that, and I just had to revisit this, and I was like, crap.
Yeah. You're basically Ethan Hawke's character.
Yeah, literally.
Bring out the whiskey. As
Oh my god! I'm at work. I literally today I was at work like noon, and I'm just like I'm not in the sunlight, and I had to literally go outside. I was like, all right, this is a lot. So yeah, this movie definitely plays with your mind, and it's not outright with everything, if that makes sense. Like it's
there's a mystery.
Yeah, in a little bit. Like Conjuring, you know what's going on. It's scary.
Yeah.
Everything is in your face. You're like, this is super scary. This one is like a little, your imagination runs wild, and there's things where not everything is so clear cut. There's not really many like ghosts. There's a few like towards the end, and like you don't really even see the main demon or entity throughout the movie. It's basically just Ethan Hawke his mind is deteriorating.
Yeah, because it's also like we were saying near the movie. It's a crime. Well, he thinks it's a crime, like a typical crime thing where it's a serial killer and he steals the children and God knows what to the last children, or last child, I should say. But yeah, so the movie's cool because like most of it is like the perspective of somebody trying to solve a crime, but he doesn't realize that it's paranormal.
Yeah, he finds that out really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So next scene after the 4 people hanging is we see a family moving into a house. Ethan Hawke's character, his wife, and they got some kids. And the old sheriff pays him a visit. So they're kind of in like a small town where you see a sheriff. I'm always intrigued by sheriffs in TV or movies. They always have seem like they have a lot on their plate. They're kind of responsible for the entire town. They pretty much know everybody. Because like Long Island, New York City, there's no sheriffs. There's
too many people.
Too many people on the police forces. Barren, old towns, like they got a sheriff and, hey, sheriff, how's it going? So the sheriff shows up to the house. He's like, I don't like what's going on here. Ethan Hawke's character is like, hey, what's going on? He just doesn't shake his hand. He's like, I know who you are. Put your hand down.
So his issue is just that like he's solving the crimes and it's making the police department look bad. Is that his issue with this?
Well, I think remember when he said to him like, I know what you've said about cops. And he's like, well, you guys don't really do your job. So our main character, Ellison, played by Ethan Hawke, he's written books before, and he's a true crime writer. And it's like pretty... it's actually... So 2012 is like kind of before the true crime phenomenon came about on Netflix and podcasts and stuff like that. So it is interesting. But, the sheriff's an old guy. He's old school. He doesn't like any of this stuff. And I don't think he just doesn't like him messing with something so... I guess, sensitive to a town that they probably don't see this stuff happen too often. Yeah,
especially being that they're a small town, and now if like an author like him is writing, with his amount of fame that he had from his first book, which was called Kentucky Blood, like he's bringing a small town into the limelight, and like, and with that probably comes people that won't respect the aspect of like people died here. People are going to start like wanting to know more about the killer and like how did these people die and like all this stuff and how did they get killed, and meanwhile it's like you're not really respecting like the people who did die.
It's like walking on like hollow ground or sacred land or something, like stupid YouTube videos where they mess with it. But I think he just doesn't want his town, like he possibly foresees like reporters or people, unwanted people coming to the town, and he just doesn't want to deal with that. He likes the peace kept in his town. So he doesn't shake his hand. He's like, I don't like what you're doing, moving into a house where the murder takes place. So that's what he does. Ellison moves into the house, and you look in the backyard and you see the tree, which we saw in the beginning, which is where the kids were hanging from.
But he has not told anybody,
including
his family,
his wife, which is number one worst of all time. You're out of your mind. So yeah, they have an exchange, and it's like, it's I wouldn't say it's cordial. It's it's like a manly conversation where it's like, I hate you, but you're not really doing anything illegal. You bought this house with your own money.
Yeah.
So he lets him go on his way, and he thinks that he can. I think this is Ellison's last dance, last hurrah at a really big novel. He thinks that like this, the last one will be his like, shining moment. Even though Kentucky Blood did well, and I guess his other books, and he thinks that solving this crime will give him that.
Yeah, Kentucky Blood was 10 years ago, though, that he wrote it. So they're starting to kind of struggle a little bit with their financial situation. So that's kind of why they also sort of move into this house. I mean, for him, it's like a win-win because I think he does mention that it was a little bit cheaper because people obviously died in this house.
Yeah. This was a steal, baby.
Yeah, so it works out for the family kind of in a way, but it's not great.
Essentially, he's paying 2 mortgages because we see later in the film that they actually still have the house that they were currently living in, but this is just kind of like an Airbnb for, I guess, however long. And the wife's awesome, where she is like, I'm here for you, but like, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, if this don't go, like, I'm out of here.
Work. I'm going back to my sisters.
Like, see ya. Goodbye.
Well, maybe with Bagul. Bagul has a way.
He's got some hair.
He's got some. He looks like the guy from Slipknot. There was one of the.
He looks like one of the masks.
It was like a.
Oh, he looks like
There's in a music video where it looks exactly like him.
He kind of looks like the drummer, their new drummer. A little bit. Yeah, he's got like long black hair. Interesting.
There's this one song that they sing, and like he's getting the main.
Psychosocial?
No, the main singer is getting chased through these like doors.
Mm-hmm.
I hear these voices inside my head. I don't know, and we will never survive.
I don't know.
And we won't get. They don't actually like scream really in that song. It's more of like singing.
JP Olsen, let me know what song this is, or any other Slipknot fans.
But he's getting chased by like either the guitarist or the bassist or whatever he plays, and he has the same exact look as Bagul. It's crazy.
Well, I wonder when he got that from the movie.
Maybe
this is 2012.
He also looks like isn't there like a superhero or something that has like a hockey stick? Or no, he's like with the Ninja Turtles. He's like and he has like a skull on his shirt.
Huh?
he like walks around with like a hockey stick, and he's like hangs out with the Ninja Turtles and
Splinter.
I don't know.
Splinter's like the squirrel guy.
No.
Hangs around with
you mean like their sensei
Turtles.
guy?
Yeah.
No. I know who that is. No.
He's like a rat.
yeah.
Squirrel. A Ninja Turtle hockey player with
no,
a
but
skull?
he's not a turtle though. He's like an actual guy, and he like carries around a hockey stick.
Are you thinking of
and he wears like a goalie
the guy
mask
in Toy Story?
No.
The kid?
No.
But he kind of wears a mask on his skull, right?
I know what you're talking
I feel like he
about.
plays hockey too.
No.
Let us know in the
I
comments.
can see him right now. I don't know.
I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. We'll look it up later.
He's not a turtle though.
I know, you said that. I don't watch the Ninja Turtles religiously.
Oh, I do. No, I don't. I'm kidding.
Who are these turtles you speak of? All right, so yeah, and we kind of get the gist of the what's going on in the movie. So Ellison finds these tapes, these old like 8mm tapes that you put on a projection screen. So he's like, all right, let's watch these. And then the first film that he sees is what we see in the beginning, and he's just like, oh
God,
I don't like this. And he's like, where's the whiskey at? He takes like a sip. And for some reason, we love these scenes where he's just each film that he watched, he downs more and more whiskey. More. He's like, "Oh God, I can't believe my eyes."
Eventually, there's no glass even. He just starts going straight from the bottle.
So, which is like, I feel like the only part for a majority of the movie where you see like a little bit of humility in him, because other than that, he's just like driven by money and fame.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we'll get into some of the themes later, but like seeing him be disturbed by it, you're like, all right, he's clearly like normal.
Yeah.
Even though he's a true crime guy, where he's just like, he kind of like takes a lap. He's like, all right, I got to get through this because I'm writing my book, and he just like watches it again. He's like, oh.
Yeah. Huh.
It's tough. So yeah, he's viewing these films, and they're pretty disturbing. So let's see.
What was the first one called? Do we know? Backyard Party or something?
Yeah, I think it was like BBQ or something.
Oh yeah. PDQ.
Yeah. So all the tapes are different murders, and he watches them periodically, and each one I feel like is more horrific than the other.
Oh yeah.
So it's the hanging one, pool, sleepy time, the car, and the lawnmower.
Oh my God.
These all sound terrible. But isn't it interesting? Like as I'm reading it, it's like all of those are normal family things that people do.
Like the names of them?
Yeah, or like what they're doing. No, barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
Pool party.
Yeah.
People sleep.
Yeah.
What was the other one? Lawnmower, you got him with a lawn, and car. People drive a car.
Yeah.
But yeah,
they're using like whatever's around them too to kill the people. It's like kind of creative kills.
very.
It's like it's not just like, you know, oh, here's a gun or a knife. It's like, what are we gonna use around us? What's around a pool that we can use to kill people?
Seriously. So yeah, and when I was saying to him, I was like, man, the writer Scott Derrickson, you got a little twisted mind there, Chief. Coming up with these.
It's like Saw.
Yeah.
Crazy kills in Saw.
Is he related? Are you friends with the Saw guy? Come on, man.
Might be.
What's going on? But yeah, no, it's really creative and creepy, though, the ways that these families are murdered. So yeah, each film is a more gruesome murder. I mean, should we go into detail of them?
Yeah, sure.
Why not?
You want to
Sure.
know? You want to know?
You came here for a reason.
Sure.
So the first one, of course, is the kids hanging.
The hanging.
And then there is this one got me.
Oh,
so
the
you see a pool party going on, like a family, and every film there's somebody like in the distance filming a family, and you're like, okay,
It's like a first person point of view, like, but they're just filming everything.
and it's a terrible camera, and you can tell you're like, okay, this family doesn't know that they're being filmed, like it's not a whole movie. And then so you watch like the family hang out for a bit, and then it cuts, and it's dark, and then you can't really make out what's going on, and then you realize what is. They're all strapped to lawn chairs, and then at the same time they just get pulled into the water and they drown.
God.
And like the
Did you
worst
see their
is when
feet?
that killed
That's
me. I
the
was like,
worst.
I literally went, okay, enough of this.
Especially like, because eventually we find out that they're also drugged, so like they're still alive, but they can't move. And I don't think there's any worse way to die.
That's like what's his name in Midsummer in the bear suit.
Oh yeah. Oh
He can't move.
100%.
He's on fire.
That's so bad. Oh
That's
my god.
terrible. So which one way would you want to go?
Which way would I want to go? Oh my god. Let's see.
Not the lawnmower.
No.
Not
Oh my
drowning.
God.
I don't know about hanging. That could be the quickest. Definitely not burning.
Not the knife. I couldn't do that.
No way.
Because you would just be lying there like.
I think
it's a knife to the throat. So.
I would say the hanging.
And what's
You're drowning. You're on fire. You get lawnmower to your face. You get knifed, or you get hung.
probably hung?
Yeah,
I'm going with hung.
that's probably the quickest.
Yeah.
Because the knife you could be like
Oh my god, I would hate
hanging
that.
there. That'd be terrible.
Oh
You
my
can't
God.
move. This is Scott Dickerson. You're good. You make.
I
us
guess
think.
technically there's a final film too, but you know we'll get to that with.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. Maybe we'll do the second one. But
No, I'm talking about
oh yeah,
at the end of the movie,
I'd probably go with that way then.
just a chop with an axe. I'm assuming that's what happens.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right
You're
to the head.
if you get.
I
think
feel like
you're-
that'd be quick.
Well, no, when your head gets cut off, I think you're still conscious for like 30 seconds.
I wonder if it hurts though. That is what they say, that you're conscious.
Who's they? No, I know. I've heard that.
Who's they?
Yeah. Who said that?
Because that's what they used to say about the
Oh, you
guillotine.
fucking owl.
The guillotine in France,
Guillotine.
like they like proved somehow that like people were still conscious.
They're probably talking about it. They're probably, oh.
God. Then they put their head in a basket, and they're just like.
That's how basketball's crazy times. Yeah, so he's watching these films, and each one is more gruesome. And his drinking increases.
Oh, yeah.
Each one. It's like we were crying it up just because it was so. Like, he's taking it so hard. Where it, like the first video was like one glass, and then the next one he was like doing 2 glasses, and then he would just like keep refilling, and he was like, and then all of a sudden I think it was like the fourth one, the lawnmower. He's just like straight taking it to the face. He's like, come on, work, work, please.
Take me out of my misery.
Oh God, yeah. So this is what's pretty much going on throughout the movie. He's starting to lose it, but like throughout the film, he's kind of acting like a detective. Which is interesting because this movie is kind of half detective movie, half horror. Because he literally has a drawing board and he has like the yarn and he's like connecting the pieces to it, which make it where you're like. Okay, it's like you're getting a break from like the gruesome murders. You're like, okay, it's just like detective work, and you go back to the films. You're like, and then you go back and you're like, okay. So it's kind of a good mix. Yeah, that's kind of like the Conjuring, where it's like conversations about the demon, and then actual stuff goes on, and it's kind of like back and forth. And at the end of the film, it's just
Yeah. Yeah, there's not too much like if I feel like if you didn't see the coming attractions or something, you just started watching it, you might just think like, this is probably like a crime movie. This guy's trying to figure out like where's the last kid in each family, and why are there tapes? Who taped it?
Yeah, because he starts to write and it's like he's like, where's the last kid? Where's
Yeah.
who's filming? And then he starts to notice. So he like rewatches each one like multiple times. Then he'll pause and stuff, and he like uploads it to his laptop. And I'm like, Jesse's spitting everywhere. And then he starts to see. The first time he sees it in the pool is a shadow reflection of like a masked man, and then he goes back to each video and he sees the masked man in the corner. So like, okay, well he's not filming, so someone's filming and doing the killing, and there's somebody watching in pleasure.
And even
super creepy.
And even still too, like you see a guy with a mask on, you're like, oh, I guess that could be like, again going back to like you might just see it as a crime movie because you could just be like, well, I mean, it makes sense. I wouldn't want to get caught as a murderer, so maybe I'll just put a mask on my face. You don't really know that this is a entity not from this world.
Even though it's, as disturbing as it is, it becomes more disturbing when you see somebody watching in the distance. You're like, is this somebody like taking pleasure of it? Like, what is going on?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't really understand what is going on. And I didn't see the coming attractions. I didn't read anything about it, so I didn't know what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so then he brings in the detective, the fanboy, who in the beginning, he works with the sheriff in the sheriff's department, and he like brought a copy of the book for him to sign, and the sheriff was like, get out of here. So then he calls in the detective because he's not going to call the sheriff because he's not going to help you with anything.
Yeah.
And so like he starts to get the deputy to help him like find addresses and pretty much like connect these murders. Because the deputy was like, I think they're connected somehow. And
He says, I think I know he says he went to college for like crime and criminology, and he's like, I know a connected murder when I see one, so let me help.
Yeah, I want to help you. Also sign my book.
And I want to be put in the book. He keeps saying.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah, that's another thing. We'll talk about the theme of ego, where you're just like, he's like, I want to be in the book, and he's like, all right, I guess like I'll let you in. Mm-hmm. And he's obviously using him. He's like, all right, I'll put you in the damn book if you like help me out.
Yeah.
That's such a weird way of asking, like, hey, I've seen your... He goes, you know when you, like, thank people for the things? He goes, the acknowledgments? He's like, yeah, maybe, like, I could be in it, because I'm here right now.
Yeah.
He's like, okay.
I guess.
And it's such a weird reaction. Ethan Hawke plays it so well where it's like, I don't know if you ever met a celebrity, but, like, trying to talk to a celebrity is very weird. You have, like a limited amount of time to talk to them.
Yeah.
And you're like, you don't know if they're going to be a dick or they're going to be really nice, and they're just kind of like, I don't have time, like... Mm-hmm. It's a weird, like, I'm better than you.
Mm. Yeah.
Meanwhile, he's got a gun. He's a deputy.
Yeah.
Like, you're just an author. You just write words that people buy your books.
I could definitely see that, for sure.
So, he's, like, helping him out with the case, and the deputy starts to, like, visit him. And the more he visits him, he's like, you don't look good. Like, there's stuff going on. You got to get outside. You got to take a walk. And he's like, no, I got to solve this case. And he's white as a ghost. He's sweaty. He's obviously been drinking whiskey, and all he's doing is staying inside, watching these gruesome murders. Like
drinking, staying inside, and watching gruesome murders. Nothing.
I mean, resting for disaster. Yeah, literally. He's kind of going insane, and he starts seeing stuff, and class. Now you're like, okay, this is more of the horror genre. You're like, is this stuff really there? Is it in his mind? Because what we just said, it could easily be in his mind.
Yeah.
Lack of sleep, drinking, probably not eating, not going outside, watching gruesome murders.
Everyday stress of kids, dealing with their kids, getting in trouble at school. Their kids start drawing weird stuff too.
Yeah, so the kids start.
Stressor.
Yeah, the kids come into play where the daughter is drawing weird things on the wall. The son is sleepwalking, and it's getting even worse and worse. And his wife is furious, but she's also frightened for him because she's like, this is my husband, but he looks terrible. Like, what is going on? He's not telling her. Because he just clearly doesn't tell her anything. Yeah. He's just like, we're going to live in this house. You're going to like be there to support me. I'm going to get this, horrible thing out of the way. Like, we're going to make millions and then we'll leave, okay? And it's like, it's not that easy.
Yeah, especially like you're really dragging his family through the ringer. We're keeping that in.
Dragging them in. He wants it.
It's very it's pretty selfish, like just dragging your family through all that and then just keeping it to yourself. It's crazy.
Yeah, because we already know she was. We know that the first really scary scene was when the sun's coming out of the box.
Yeah, yeah.
And you think it's what's cool about it is you think it's like an entity or a ghost, and you're like, oh, it's just his son.
Yeah.
Because you see him approach it, you're like, what are you doing? Why are you
Comes
grabbing
out
it?
like the Grudge, like all backwards, twisted, and you're just like,
What the hell is that?
Holy shit!
I literally went, what the hell? 'Cause you see a box in the middle of the thing moving, and the next morning he was like, I was in a box. He's like, yeah, it wasn't the worst place where we found it. So you're like, okay, this kid sleepwalks.
Last week was a brothel.
You were done, broads. So you know that the son sleepwalks, and it's getting progressively worse, and it's obviously because, of what he's investigating in the house they're in.
Yeah.
And the daughter is drawing more stuff. The wife is becoming furious, so he's just killing his family.
Magul's probably outside trying to coax him, like, come here, boy.
Come on, sleepwalk this way.
Come on this way.
I got some candy. Come on.
Come on. Daddy had Legos. Lego Eggos. Eggo waffles. Lego my Eggos. And seed.
So like we said before, Ellison realizes there's a member of each tape missing, meaning that not everybody was killed. Also, who's filming, and there's also a weird symbol and a strange figure in each episode or in each video. So the deputy is like, there's this guy who's like a demonologist or he's an expert on the occult.
Yeah.
And he's like, why don't you give him a call? And the guy's like, oh, I'm a huge fan. He's like, all right, so this is what this means.
This is from Babylonian times.
Yeah, so what is it?
This is a symbol from Babylonian times, and they would worship, I guess they would worship this being, Bagul, who would feast on the souls of kids and lure them into his weird depths of whatever. It's not even like hell. It's just his own little place. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not something that you've ever heard before, or at least I haven't. And it's not like one of the 7 kings of hell or something.
Yeah.
Hereditary, and it's kind of something unique and by itself.
It almost sounds like a folk tale or something, like to keep kids from acting bad. Like how they would say like, oh, don't act bad because Krampus is going to get you. Instead of Santa, you're going to get Krampus, or like, there's tons of it throughout, history.
Bagul will get you.
Yeah, so Bagul will get you, like, something like that. But meanwhile, it turns out, I guess there's something out there in the depths of wherever he lives.
Well, I think that's how Hansel and Gretel was written. The Brothers Grimm, I think, wrote it to, like, scare kids away.
Yeah.
She gets kids in there.
And especially, like, I'm sure also because there's so many themes of like gluttony, for example, like also don't eat bad because look what happens when you eat bad. You're gonna be fat, and then a witch is gonna want to eat you because you're fat and so pudgy and stuff.
I didn't know. Interesting. Yeah.
But in real history, Bagul is not the real name. I forget what the real name is, but there is like a being out there that was in Babylonian times. I guess they worshipped or something. I also want to say, I don't know if I was looking this up or if they said in the movie, but or I think they said in the movie that they took it out of some of like the more of the books because it was so like cursed, they thought, or something.
What
like not like the Bible, but like whatever books that they had then in Babylonian times, to document things.
Took them out of the books.
Yeah, like they didn't, because I remember the professor in the movie saying, I can't find much on him because they took a lot of it out.
They probably banned it.
Because,
like, this shit's crazy.
because they thought it was bring on, like, evil spirits.
He did talk about, like, early day Christians and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's having a conversation over Zoom with the occult guy. Or no, it wasn't even Zoom, it was probably Skype back then.
Yeah.
Back then, 2012. And so he's talking to me, he's, like, learning things. And it just becomes all the more creepy where he learns about, that this is like an actual, thing that's been going on for years. I mean, Babylonian times was what? Like, when Jesus was around? I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
Long time ago.
You'd know better than I would.
So that is what is that. This movie, their budget was $3 million.
$3 million?
Which is not a lot.
Wow. That's crazy.
And which is amazing, but it kind of makes sense because you think about it, it's just like
$3 million. That's nothing.
Yeah, it's like 8mm like footage, which is not a lot.
That's true.
They're in 2 houses.
Most of it's in the first one.
Yeah, and they
just have to film through the house. They don't go anywhere else.
Bottle of whiskey.
Because we're just following Ethan Hawke. We're not following the kids going to school. We're not following the mom going to work.
It's literally 2 settings.
Yeah.
It's outside. the house and both houses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like the actual movie things. Yeah, $3 million. I mean, probably done it for less, but yeah,
It's pretty cool.
paying everybody. Yeah, so it's really low budget, but it's low budget, but it's not a low budget film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Acting's
it's
pretty
popular.
good. Camera work looks good. You know,
Everything's
for
great.
yeah.
Yeah, and then this is when he starts to like really lose it. So he like in the middle of the night, he sees the projector go on by itself. He carries a baseball bat around. He hears things. He sees things. And the more Ellison gets invested in the films, the stronger Bagul becomes, and the closer he gets to, like it's kind of sped up.
And I feel like, as we learn at the end of the movie, like Bagul wants them to move out of the house, so the cycle continues. So he's probably ramping it up so that the dad's like, "All right, we got to get out of this fucking house."
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, it's like that's exactly
That's
what
I
Bagul
want
wants.
you to. Yeah,
Plus, you had a Lego My Egos waffles, not sponsored.
it's pretty brilliant.
Yeah.
The way that he operates. It's like, I'm not doing any of the work, and I'm going to get you out of the house to make you think that you need to leave the house, but that's exactly what I want you to do.
Yeah.
And I need children to stay alive, and I get them easily.
He's like an entrepreneur.
He literally is, yeah.
comes up
Entrepreneur,
with all the ideas, gets everyone to do the work for him, and rakes in all the souls.
Unreal.
What a guy.
He's the best. Now, yeah. Oh, am I bleeding?
Oh, you bleeding?
I hurt my lip. I split my lip because it's so dry out.
It's from Bagul.
Yeah.
You see, this is so random,
He
but
gave
it
me
was
the-
70 degrees in Chicago today for some reason.
It was like 50 today.
Yeah, I know.
Good.
Crazy. 70
Chicago
degrees.
has a very wide range of temperatures. It can go from like -20 to 120.
Yeah.
Maybe not that high, but it can go pretty high.
But usually at this time, they're still freezing because of the wind that just comes from the north and shit.
The north and
The
shit.
north.
The north and shit. You always sound like Kyle from Nug Boys. And shit. You
The
didn't say
north
that.
and shit.
No.
The north.
You're so
Northern Ireland.
So arguments start to arise between Ellison and his wife because she's just like, "You're crazy. Like, you got to stop. The kids are."
I'm going to go to my sister's. This is what I'm going to do.
You know my sister? She's
You
better
remember?
than you.
Remember her?
Yeah, she good. So, son sleepwalks more. The daughter's doing all these crazy drawings.
You were going to say drugs.
Yeah,
Because you went drrrr.
she's going crazy with it.
Their 11-year-old daughter starts doing crazy drugs.
So, like, when is the part when he so he goes outside and he thinks he sees Bagul, but it ends up being his son sleepwalking. So he gives him to the wife. The wife brings him in, and then like this dog's like growling at him, and the dog runs away because I think he sees Bagul. Another movie where animals can like sense and see things. So like in Conjuring.
Well, actually, I don't know if you noticed, but that dog is Bagul. Because later on,
word?
the professor shows us pictures. There's 3 pictures. There's one with a scorpion, which he sees in the beginning of the movie. A picture of a snake, which he also sees in the attic of the movie.
yeah.
And then there's a dog eating something like weird in the picture. Kind of look like a horse, but it's a dog. And so those are Bagul because he can transform into like whatever he wants to be. And so that dog was literally Bagul, like staring at him. And then when the kids show up that he's held on to their souls or whatever, Bagul just goes, and just goes back into the woods.
Yeah, literally. He's like, he's very. It's like in The Witch, where it like takes its time for the family to like crumble, and then he acts.
It's just more of
It's the long game.
yeah, and it's like just like an intimidation factor thing. You know, it was just like I'm gonna growl at you, but again, I'm not gonna do the work.
It's not me. I'll
not
turn
me.
into a dog. Yeah. So they decide to leave the place, leave the current home they're in because he's just like, I've had enough. What was like the last straw?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of it, but
I think it's when he actually sees the kids. So he ended up seeing like
Oh, yeah,
the kids
yeah.
that were in the films.
they're up in the attic.
They're up
And
in the
he's-
attic. Oh, and then the Bagul goes, and
Yeah,
he falls out
yeah,
of the
yeah,
attic.
yeah.
So that was like the last straw.
Then he takes the camera and all the film and he just throws it into a fire.
Yeah, so he
Get
burns
the
it.
kids and pack up. We're leaving.
No!
No.
Okay.
All right, God.
No! I'm in right fucking now!
2 drinks.
2 hours of my time! Fuck yeah! $50,000 million.
Fuck you. I make $50 million a year.
You're a joke, dude. Blah blah.
Your
Or it's $50 million for small businesses.
Your shirt's 2 sizes too small, fat.
So get back inside. Drag a pizza.
Fat. So that's so funny.
He's wearing like a Star Wars thing. His stomach's hanging out. That's so funny. Anyway, so yeah, he's like, get the kids. We're out of here.
And that's where that music is. And you just hear. We should make a remix.
I was just about to be like, we're like, all right, this movie's about done, but what do we need? Neil Peart shows up. I got what you need.
Yo, imagine we like.
Yo.
Imagine we actually did like some sort of remix thing. We film you drumming while I do some DJ shit, and it's horror related, and put it on the fucking thing.
We could do that.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
This guy plays the drums if you ain't know. And I DJ.
What do you think?
That's what do I call him? Why am I? Jaquarius. No, I don't know.
Aquarius the cowboy?
What's his name?
I don't fucking know. Fork on the left.
Oh god. Ethan Hawke.
He's Ethan Hawke, the cowboy
Ethan Hawke.
version. Fork on the left.
It's Winston.
Winston Churchill?
Yeah, it's Winston.
Winston
His name's
drunk
Winston.
again.
Drunk again, I see. Yeah,
Yeah,
you fat bitch.
End scene.
He leaving the house. They getting out.
All right, so they get the hell out of the house after seeing Bagul and all the kids in the film. So we realize that each kid, there's one kid not in each of the films. And then they like start to haunt him, and he's like, "We're out of here." So he's like, takes the car in the middle of the night in the rain in like the backwoods of the country, and he just goes like 90 down the road. Of course, the sheriff stops him. He's like, "What the hell are you doing?" He's like, "I've taken your advice," and he's just like looking down. He's like, "License registration. I took your advice. What do you mean?" "I'm getting the hell out of here," or something like that. And the guy's like, "Good. I told you so." And he's like, "I'm not going to give you a speeding ticket or whatever." And he's like, what I thought was kind of like cheesy and cringy, but he was just like, "I'm not gonna write the book." And she goes, "Really? You mean it?" He's like, "Yeah."
No fooling.
No fooling. You mean it? And I just thought it was like, all right.
Yeah.
Like,
and they make
he's
out.
driving you away. Really? No kidding? Yeah. Kids, look away.
I love you, darling.
God.
With her Texas/British accent.
Yeah. What was that?
That's
Did
those
she
are
actually
like
say she was from Texas?
No, I have no idea. But I joked while we were watching
Yeah.
because you were like, "What accent is that?" Because sometimes it would sound American, sometimes it would sound British.
She'd be like, "What the hell are you doing?"
And then
She'd be
Sam was like, "What accent is that?" And I go, "I don't know, but if she says something about her being from Texas, I guess
She ain't British.
She ain't British."
She'd just be like, she would say something like, "What is that over there? Did you put the kettle on?" And I was like, "What?"
It's like she was forgetting. Oh wait, I'm supposed to be a British broad
Yeah.
in this movie.
Cut, you're British. Oh, right. Sorry. Tea, crumpets.